Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I'm continuing on to the next film in the watches for the 31 Days of Halloween movies. Um, Now, this one, my wife basically said I should wait till Christmas time to watch it. I can't really argue with that. I mean, it is a Christmas horror movie, but it still is a horror movie, so I went ahead and threw it in for the month of October just because I have way plenty to watch come Christmas movie watching time, December, November, somewhere around there. Um, so went ahead and started watching it, and I've watched this, or should I say, try watching this before. Um, it was probably a couple years or so ago, and I just couldn't get into it. It wasn't working for me at that time, so I wanted to give it another shot because I do love one of the two remakes. Um, and I'll say which one it is when I say the title of the movie. Which, if you watched my video talking about all the movies I'm watching, you'll know which one it is by when I said Christmas, and that is the uh, film that a lot of people seem to enjoy. They say it's the best out of the three, and that is Black Christmas. Um, this was made back in 1974. Um, Basically, it is another version of When a Stranger Calls. That's where they took a lot of their ideas from. Was that urban legend that When a Stranger Calls was made off of? So technically, it's kind of the same thing in a way in certain aspects, but obviously not. Uh, but they did borrow from the same urban legend. Um, Now, the one I love the most is Black Xmas. That's the one I watched first. That's the one I grew up watching. Um, this one, like I said, I tried watching, didn't love it. Couldn't really get into it, so I stopped before even finishing it. Uh, that's why I've never really fully went into a review that I don't believe for this. But this stars Olivia Hussey, uh, Margaret Kidder, and John Saxon as the three kind of big names that I know. Um, and this movie has good points and it has bad points. Um, the thing that One of the things that kind of is interesting about these movies and is the fact that the calls come from in the house. Now, it would be one thing if they was using a cell phone to call the house phone, but when you're using the same phone from inside the house to call, because there was like there's supposed to be like a couple phones in this house. Now I know they said that the house mother had her line. He could have, maybe he was using that. Maybe I missed the part where he was using her phone. Uh, but for me, it it just didn't make sense how he was able to call from their landline to the other from basically call their number, because you think it'd say there was a busy signal because it's trying to dial the same number within the house, but it doesn't. So how that works, I don't know. I'm not really sure on that. Like I said, maybe there was a phone in the house that happened to have a separate number that he was using. Because I think, like I said, I think they did say the house mother might have had a separate number. I think, but I don't know. It just, to me, it didn't quite understand that part. Which, I mean, that is partially a fault in the Black Xmas, because I don't think he used a cell phone in that one either. I think they have him doing. It's been a while since I've seen Black Xmas. I need to rewatch it. I'll have to rewatch it to know for sure, but I think that's a problem also I think I have with Black Xmas, but I'd have to rewatch to make sure because I can't remember. But also, um, the ending to this movie, it aggravated me because you have this girl who just went through a traumatic experience, had to kill her boyfriend, thinking he was the one making the obscene phone calls, and you have all these cops around, and they end up just leaving her on the bed to sleep by herself. There was another cop in the room. Now, the only cop that I saw around after they had all had I guess left, it looked like there was one cop that had stayed behind, and he was standing out on the front porch. And I'm like, why are you not in the house in that chair, sitting in that chair, watching for her to wake up? Because, granted, in their mind, they're thinking they've caught the killer, but they they don't know for sure. I mean, they even have him saying what would make him kill these people. Like, there's still questions there. So why are you not having somebody there with her when she wakes up? Like, in that, just in case she was to wake up in that room, because yes, they're outside on the porch, but they need to be inside sitting with her, sitting in that chair in that room. Because if for some reason their killer's not caught, which we know he's not by the end of this, because he's still in the attic, then if she, he could come down and kill her before the cop would even know. Or even if say she was to wake up, she could freak out and do Lord knows what because she's just been through such a traumatic experience. On top of that, they didn't even sweep the premises and make sure the house was clear. They saw a dead body, assumed it was him, and that was it. They didn't even really canvass the whole house and search for any other possible bodies or anything, because by the end of the movie, when they're panning away, the house mother and Claire is still up in the attic dead where Billy's at. So that annoyed me. I was like, really? Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand what we're doing here. You you have yet technically to find the girl that the dad's been looking for, and you're not even searching the house for any possible other bodies. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And then the dad, you know, he at the end he's standing in the chair, and I don't know. I guess I expected him to be more tore up about it, um, but he did sort of pass out uh, randomly after he stood up from the chair. They had him pass out, I guess, to show his how upset he was, even though they didn't search to find his daughter's body. They at least, I mean, he showed a little bit of being upset at the situation. He passes out, but to me, it was odd timing because it seemed when he stood up like he was fine. Like he wasn't that torn up, and then all of a sudden he passes out. So I don't know. I didn't understand that whole end sequence really bothered me. Um, on top of, like I said, the fact about the calls coming from inside the house, him using the same number landline from inside the house. But that aside, I thought the acting was good for it being a '70s movie. Um, I thought the cinematography, the atmosphere was fine. Definitely the atmosphere. You really get that creepiness. I think the phone calls, the way he's talking over the phone calls. Obviously, that's creepy. So they do a good job at setting that stuff up. Obviously, he's not caught by the end of it. He's still up in the attic with the two dead bodies, and but there's no real you don't really get a backstory on him, but then again, you kind of do because you could sort of pick from what he's saying in a way that he didn't have a great childhood. At least that's what I was getting from what he was saying when I could understand what he was saying. Of course, then obviously he would repeat some stuff that he heard from inside the house too. Um, but could he just I could be wrong by what he picking up on what he was saying. It could just been they didn't really mention anything. They were just going for he's a guy that escaped and came back to the house. I mean, that's the thing. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. We're not given a clear answer to what it is, which is fine. I mean, we get that same situation with Michael Myers in Halloween. Um, that's the first one that comes to mind with the killer that has no real motive or nothing, at least in the first movie. Um, but it just, I think with this character, it just, I needed a little more. I needed a little more. How did, I would have loved to see maybe him breaking out, maybe killing a few people, and then getting to this, seeing a girl and following her into the house and uh, something more. I just needed a little more back character building with his character. I don't feel like we had enough. Um, but it's still okay. It was still fine. I liked it a little bit better than what I did the first time around. But I still, personally, for me, I prefer Black Xmas um, because I love how they do the backstory for Billy. I love how I like the kills in that one. Because in this one there was some mistakes. The scene with the cop where he got his throat slit looked horrible. I mean, they should have done a lot better on that. I mean, I know it's the '70s, but that just didn't look good at all. Um, when the house mother got stabbed through the neck, um, they shouldn't have had her screaming because it would have made her to where she couldn't scream and make noises like she was. It should have just been like gurgling noises from where she's choking on her blood and stuff, where it just went through her throat. Um, the You don't really see the one kill on Phyllis and the Margaret Kidder kill, the Barb kill. Um, it's fine. It's more of a cutaway. You just kind of see him raising up the unicorn horn statue thing and like stabbing her with it. You don't really see a lot and so you just basically see blood on the unicorn horn. That's okay. I mean, it is what it is. So the kills aren't the best in this one. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it still has some good atmosphere, creepiness to it. The acting's still good. Um, you get that good Christmas feel with the decorations and stuff. I just, for me overall, this was a 3 out of 5. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I think that's a fair score for it. And will this be a staple to watch every year? No. Um, is it staying in the collection? Yes, because I still enjoyed aspects of it enough to keep it. So definitely going to hang on to it, but just not going to be a staple watch every year. So that is everything for my review for Black Christmas. So please come like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for our videos, and we will see you all in the next one.